Some people speak less because their mind is already saying too much. The silence isn't shyness, it's depth. Most people never recognize. You've always been the one who listens longer than expected. While others rush to fill the air, you stay quiet, watching everything unfold. Conversations feel different inside your head than they look from outside. You're processing 5 layers while others are barely noticing one. What you're experiencing isn't social weakness or introversion alone. There's a quiet psychology behind why your mind chooses listening over speaking. People who listen more than they speak share a hidden inner architecture. Their nervous system is wired to absorb before responding, always. You hear the words, but you also hear what's underneath them, the hesitation, the slight shift in tone, the thing they almost said. Most people listen waiting for their turn to talk. You listen because you're genuinely trying to understand the human in front of you. There's a reason this feels so natural to you. Somewhere along the way, you learned that listening was safer than speaking. Maybe you grew up in a home where words felt risky. Speaking too soon got you dismissed, corrected, or quietly punished. So your mind adapted. It became a careful observer, choosing silence as a form of intelligence rather than fear. But here's where it gets deeper than most people realize. Your listening isn't passive at all. It's an active emotional skill. You're tracking microexpressions, pauses, breathing patterns, word choices, everything. Your brain runs a constant analysis others never even attempt. This is why conversations exhaust you in ways that confuse others. You're not just talking, you're decoding an entire human being. And then something strange happens when you finally do speak. People notice. They lean in. Your words carry weight precisely because they're rare. You've probably been told you're quiet your whole life. But quiet was never the right word for what's actually happening inside you. Psychology has a name for this pattern. It's called deep processing, and it shapes how your entire personality moves through the world. Deep processors take in more information per second than average listeners. Your brain doesn't filter quickly. It absorbs fully before deciding anything. This is why you remember conversations from years ago in detail. Others forgot them by the next morning, but yours stayed alive. You remember the way someone's voice cracked mid-sentence. You remember what they didn't say more than what they did. But there's a deeper layer most people miss completely. Listening this much isn't just a habit, it's an identity. Somewhere inside you, listening became the way you stayed safe. If you understood people fully, you could predict them, protect yourself. This is the quiet origin of your awareness. Not curiosity alone, but a younger version of you needing to read every room. Imagine sitting at a family dinner as a child. The adults are talking, laughing, but something underneath feels tense and unspoken. You felt it before you had words for it. That early radar became the listening pattern you still carry today. What makes this even harder is that few people notice your effort. They see your silence, not the entire universe behind it. You sit in meetings absorbing everything, then leave feeling unseen. The person who spoke loudest gets credit for what you understood first. This is one of the quiet griefs of being a deep listener. Your insight rarely gets acknowledged because you don't perform it loudly. And yet the people closest to you feel it instantly. They come to you when they're hurting, confused, or finally ready to be honest. You're the friend people choose when they need to be understood. Not advised, not fixed, just genuinely heard without judgment. This is your gift, but it's also your weight. Holding space for others means holding their emotional residue inside your own body. You leave conversations carrying things you didn't bring in. Their stress, their sadness, their unspoken fears now live quietly inside you. If you've been recognizing yourself in any of this, drop a comment below. Tell me one moment when listening cost you more than people realized. Because this is the part nobody talks about. Being a deep listener can be lonely in ways that don't have an obvious name. You understand others, but you rarely feel understood back. Most people aren't trained to listen the way you do. And here's the truth that took me a long time to accept. You can't expect everyone to meet you at your depth. Some people speak to be heard. You speak to be understood. Those are entirely different emotional languages, even when using the same words. This is why small talk drains you so completely. It's not the topic, it's the absence of real human contact inside the exchange. You're craving conversations that go somewhere, words that mean something, silences that feel comfortable rather than awkward or performative. And when you do find someone who listens the way you do, something shifts. The friendship feels rare because statistically it is rare. But there's another layer to your listening most people overlook. You don't just listen to understand others, you listen to understand yourself. Every conversation becomes a mirror. You notice your own reactions, your hesitations, what you wanted to say but didn't. This constant inner observation is why you know yourself so deeply. You spent years studying your own emotional landscape through the lens of others. This is the moment you start to understand why you are this way. It was never weakness, it was always a form of intelligence. Listening more than you speak isn't a personality flaw to fix. It's a way of being in the world that requires honoring, not changing. But it does come with responsibilities you've probably ignored. The first one is learning when your silence is wisdom and when it's avoidance. Sometimes you stay quiet because you're processing carefully. Other times, you stay quiet because speaking up feels too risky or exposing. Knowing the difference is where your real growth begins. Silence can be a sanctuary, but it can also be a hiding place. The people who listen most are often the ones who feel most. Your emotional bandwidth is wider than most, and that comes with a cost. You feel the room before you enter it. You feel the goodbye before it's spoken. You feel endings while others are still beginning. This sensitivity isn't a malfunction. It's a heightened awareness that, when honored, becomes one of your greatest human capacities. But it needs protection. Without boundaries, your listening becomes a leak. You give and give until there's nothing left for yourself. This is the painful truth about being the listener everyone trusts. You become a container for everyone else's life while quietly losing your own. You start to wonder when someone will ask about you, when someone will read you the way you read them so effortlessly. That ache is real, and it deserves to be named. You're allowed to want to be heard, not just to hear. And here's where it all starts to make sense. The listening you give others is the listening you needed first. You became what you needed. That's not a flaw, that's one of the most human things a person can do. But now, as an adult, the work shifts. You learn to give yourself the same patient attention you've given everyone else. You start listening to your own thoughts without rushing past them. You let your feelings finish their sentences before judging them. This is where your healing actually lives. Not in speaking more, but in finally hearing yourself with the depth you've always offered others. Because the world needs listeners like you. In a culture obsessed with being loud, your quietness is a quiet revolution. You hold space for truth in a way few people can. Your presence alone changes how others speak when they're near you. People become more honest around you. They don't fully know why, but they sense it's safe to be real with you. That's not a small thing. That's a kind of emotional leadership most people will never understand or develop. So if you spent your life feeling like the quiet one, reconsider. You weren't quiet. You were listening at a frequency most people miss. You weren't shy. You were thoughtful. You weren't withdrawn. You were absorbing. You weren't behind. You were operating on a deeper layer. The world taught you to apologize for your silence, but your silence has been speaking volumes the whole time. It's time to stop translating yourself into someone louder. The right people will meet you in your natural rhythm without demanding more. And the ones who can't, they were never going to hear you anyway, no matter how loud you tried to become for them. Your listening is sacred. Your awareness is rare. Your depth is a gift the world doesn't always deserve but desperately needs. Take a moment now and ask yourself something honest. When was the last time you listened to your own inner voice this carefully? If this resonated with you, share one word in the comments. Just one word that describes what listening has cost you or given you. And if Mavyn Psychology has helped you see yourself more clearly, subscribe. We decode the patterns most people feel but can't put into words. You spent a lifetime hearing everyone else. Maybe it's finally time to sit still and hear the one person you've been avoiding, yourself. Because in a world full of voices fighting to be heard, the quietest person in the room is often the one who understands it best.